So I've seen various territories and geographies scaling up and innovating in different industries. When I got this topic, which was innovation versus disruption, I was not very clear because I didn't think that they are adversarial in nature. I think innovation leads to disruption, so therefore I took the liberty of changing the title of saying innovation and disruption. I'll take you quickly through what is my take on this, what is happening in the world, and then few examples of how this would be relevant in an environment like India. Yeah? Next slide. Go to executive summary. Okay, so here's the sense of what I'm going to talk about. It's only a 8 or 10 slide presentation. The first one is innovation is generally accompanied by addressing millions of people or large masses. That's an inherent property of innovation in the first place. So anything that is happening at a small scale definitely is not innovation which is driven by disruption. Right? The second one is there are various models in play right now. There is incremental improvement that you do with the product and service. You also create products and services, which is again not innovation. And then there is something completely outlandish, which disrupts the model completely, and then hell breaks loose when a number of people enroll for that product or service. So I'll explain what those models are. There are some myths prevalent with what innovation is all about. People say you need to have a very calm environment, people holding hands and singing Kumbaya. That's not how innovation happens. Innovation happens in a pressure cooker situation. They say necessity is the mother of invention. That's actually true because most innovations happen when your feet are held to fire. And that is those are some of the myths that we'll talk about in the subsequent slide of the presentation. I'll explain to you the curve of innovation versus incremental growth and improvement. And finally, how various players have used innovation disruptively in the marketplace and how has their model proved to be better. And last but not the least, 3 examples, one from the services industry, infrastructure, and government, of how disruption could happen in these 3 sectors, specific from an Indian standpoint. Yeah? Let's move. Next. So here it's just setting the context. Conventional wisdom dictates that companies create products and services by the loop that you see on the top. Opportunity, ideation, prototype, go to market. That's the conventional route. 90 to 95% of the companies are operating in that loop for majority of the times. So that's why they are in the 95% of the bucket of the companies who are not breaking the orbit. Yeah? There are another set of companies who do incremental innovation. What it means by that is they come up with very innovative ways of addressing the problem, but in a limited sphere. Not necessarily something which can scale up in a mammoth fashion across the globe, right? And then you have the third category, which is disruptive innovation. So to give you an example, you can, and let's take cancer. Treatment of cancer as one of the industries or one of the examples. There have been improvements in how you administer chemotherapy so that the side effects of that are reduced significantly. That I would place in the left bucket of incremental innovation. But the use of nanotechnology to address cancer is disruptive. In fact, it's still under designing stage, but if that was to actually get implemented commercially, that would completely change the paradigm of treatment of malignancy, right? So that's the separation of these 2 buckets. So you have 3 worlds, if you will. The conventional world right on top, which majority of the companies stay focused and stay put. The second world, which is talking about incremental innovation, which is again some of the better ones who look at innovating in an incremental fashion, and then complete outliers or leaders. They're in the third and the last bucket. Yeah. Move on. Now this is a classical curve which indicates how on 2 axes, performance and users, do two competing powers in the business world, match head to head. So you may have an entrenched player who's a leader. The leader will actually grow on performance and user curve almost in a linear fashion. The trajectory of the curve could vary. It could be 20 degrees, 40 degrees, depending on what kind of improvements are being put on the table. But then you have the innovators who start very small. What they do is, you have to bear one thing in mind, and that's a disclaimer or a qualifier for this chart. There should be a third axis on this chart, which is cost, or the service offering price or expense. That should be the third of the x-axis. Unfortunately, I can't describe it here. But rest assured that all disruptive companies on that axis do exceptionally well. Unfortunately, it's not demonstrated there. But be as it may, on the two axes of users and performance, if you look at the way the conventional leaders operate, they have a linear growth over a period of time with performance and users. So they have a very, what you call the Hindu or a kosher growth rate as far as the users are concerned. When a disruptive power or enterprise comes into place, they generally start very small because people don't know who they are, and they gather pace. And the pace they gather is not so much because of performance, but because of cost. The cost drives their growth till a point they come where there's a point of inflection where both the conventional businesses and the disruptive businesses are probably at the same level, both in terms of performance as well as users. Note, however, price is not here. So price compared to...
I have a request to you. If these people, if you can give them some idea, which they can practically do in their life.
Next slide.
So you have 2-3 minutes more. So
take it. Next slide. So these are the myths. So if I have 2-3 minutes, then I would go through this quickly. So I talked about what are the myths as far as the disruptive innovation is concerned. It's generally believed that we have the freedom to make decisions. That doesn't happen. It's generally top down. That is how organizations run worldwide. Innovation requires sufficient resources. That's a myth. You don't have resources. You start small, you get money, that's how you grow. They say that time pressure is not given to people who innovate. That's not true. You're in a pressure cooker situation, only then you innovate. They say you need to be gifted. Ordinary people do extraordinary things. That's the way. So there are other myths there also. Let's go to the next slide. These are 5 examples that I have taken of convention, how things were done, leading to innovation, and finally disruption. So let's take an example quickly. Telecom. The conventional Stouger, E10B exchange or crossbar, some of you are from telecom industry, that's what it used to be. Now you have a smartphone or a regular phone which allows you to use digital communication, including texting and everything else. Going on to Skype. Skype, in fact, is just a software. It doesn't invest a dime on hardware. But it currently captures 40% of the voice traffic. So that's the disruption which is running all the voice companies bankrupt. Retail, you had the conventional thing, the round the corner shop. Walmart, which ensured that you got all accesses of multiple shops in a single location, so economies of scale and better serviceability. And finally, Amazon, where you sit at home, you get serviced. Yeah. Uber, again, a tanga, a taxi. I don't have to tell you about Uber, right? Same as the case with Zynga. I don't know if you are in the gaming business. There are more than the population equal to the population of US are the number of users who operate on this particular platform. And finally, Twitter. The conventional mode was newspaper, magazines, and then you had television, which actually controlled the communication between a leader or a political entity or anybody else with the rest of the world. Now we have Twitter, one-to-one. Anybody can reach out to anybody. So the conventional media in all these enterprises are irrelevant and mundane. There's no romance associated with them, and they're dying. Next slide. So these are statistics for what it's worth. 300 million minutes and 300 million users for Skype. 40% traffic as of last year. 50% of voice traffic is on Skype. All telecom companies are dying in the voice business, in case you don't know that. 8 million users for Uber and 1 million rides every day. That's significant, huge compared to any single entity in terms of providing that service. And finally, Twitter, more than the population of India, are the actual users of Twitter who can actually control the communication, as does our Prime Minister, right? That's one of the reasons why he stays away from media, because he has the power to communicate directly to everybody rather than relying on the whims and fancies of the media. Next slide. I've taken 3 examples. Judiciary, first one. What is a traditional judicial model? You have the typewriter with the right karta rehta hai, judge kuch bolta rehta hai. It's a nightmare going to a court and trying to get your verdict if you don't want to deal with all the touts, not to mention the millions of man hours that are lost in trying to get these things done. If that was not enough, every judge, and I'm really appalled to note that, sits down and writes down verdict verbatim every Saturday or Sunday so that he clears the backlog of over 2.2 crore of court cases that are currently lying in the country. How inefficient is that? Not to mention that justice delayed is justice denied, right? If we now move to the next level, which I hope we do, and I hope Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is listening to that, is you move to the innovation model. The innovation model would connect all your codes on a fiber optic WAN as well as digitize everything. So you have templated verdicts, which the judge just has to change the name of the people who are petitioners and respondents, get all the case laws at the click of the button. People submit everything online. They don't have to carry these reams of paper and everything else. And that's the first level you could do as far as innovation is concerned. The next level is the entire judicial system is on the cloud. So I have an app which knows exactly what my case law is. I get every day and I know that at 10:25 it's going to be listed there. I can access my entire file at the click of the button because it's encrypted and password protected for my benefit. The judges and everybody else can access any of the case laws and any of the verdicts they have pronounced in the past, again at the click of the button. And the whole judiciary system becomes virtual. Imagine how that would happen.